Hello everyone and welcome to today's E2 language IELTS writing guided mock test. My name is Sasha. I'm one of the team of expert IELTS teachers at e2language.com. In today's class, we're going to focus on Task 1 General Training. Before we begin our class, let me confirm that you can see and hear me. If you can see and hear me, can you type the word yes into your chat box, please? Lots of people writing in yes, thank you very much. Now, for those of you watching on YouTube Live, thank you very much for logging in and participating as well. If you're watching on YouTube Live, unfortunately, I can't see your answers throughout today's class. So I recommend that at the end of today's class, you go to e2language.com and register for a free account so that next time you can log in through E2 Language and I'll be able to see your answers. As I said, I'm Sasha from E2 Language. Today we're doing our IELTS writing guided mock test, and we're going to focus on Task 1, General Training. In today's group class, we're going to use the chat box to communicate. You'll be able to hear me, and I'll ask you to write some answers to various parts of the Task 1 General Training question in your chat box so that I can look at your answers. Now, this is a group class. If you would like to get some individual, personal, one-on-one attention to improve your IELTS skills, particularly your writing, there are two ways that you can do it. One way is to submit your writing for feedback, and I'll show you how to do this at the end of today's class. You can upload your writing to the E2 Language website, where it will be marked by an E2 IELTS expert who will give you an overall writing score, 4 specific writing scores, and detailed written feedback about how you can improve your writing. The other way to get some one-on-one help is to book a one-on-one tutorial. That's a 45-minute class, one-on-one, just you and your E2 language IELTS expert. It might be me, Sasha, or one of the other fantastic teachers at E2 Language. In this one-on-one class, we'll focus on your weak points. Now, some students want to focus only on writing. Other students want to do a little bit of writing and speaking, or writing and reading, or speaking and listening. It's up to you. We will fine-tune the tutorial to best meet your needs and help you reach your goals. In today's live class, we're going to begin by analyzing the task so we understand what the question requires us to do. In our review, we're going to focus on complex sentences. It's essential that you can include complex sentences in your answer if you want to get a high score in your grammar. We'll do some guided writing. We'll write our letter together in stages. Each stage will have a specific time limit. We'll also review a high scoring sample, and we'll finish with Q&A, questions and answers. If you have any IELTS questions, you can ask me those questions at the end of today's class. It might be questions about today's Task 1 General Training topic, or something to do with IELTS writing, or perhaps it's questions about IELTS speaking, listening or reading, grammar or vocabulary questions, or even study tips or exam tips. Today's class will take about 1 hour. Let's remind ourselves what is Task 1 General Training. As you know, you need to write a letter. Now, it might be a formal letter, or a semi-formal letter, or even an informal letter. No matter what type of letter it is, the requirements are always the same. You need to write 150 words or more. 150 is the minimum. If you want to write 150, that's fine. If you want to write 170 or 190 or 200, that's fine as well. You can write as many as you want, as long as it's more than 150 words. There is no maximum. Remember, though, that you only have about 20 minutes to do your writing for Task 1. In total, you have 60 minutes exactly to do both Task 1 and Task 2. And we usually recommend that you start with Task 2 and spend 40 minutes on Task 2, and then 20 minutes on Task 1. The minimum number of words for task 1 is 150, and for task 2, the minimum is 250. Don't forget that your task 1 is worth 1/3 of your total writing score, and your task 2 is worth 2/3. Now, we know that there are lots of students all over the world using E2 language, and we're very, very thankful that you use our materials. I want you to see that we have a number of different Task 1 general training classes throughout the week. When you go to e2language.com and you log in, you'll be able to see your calendar in your local time. Of course, depending on which part of the world you're living in, the calendar times will be slightly different. Notice that we have 3 different Task 1 general training classes each week. You can see we have one on a Monday, and then another one on a Wednesday, and then we have a new one on a Saturday. Let's have a look at today's task. So the first thing we need to do is to look at our question. I'll read it to you now. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. A friend of yours is coming to stay in your house for a week while you are away on holiday. Write a letter to your friend to prepare them for their stay. In your letter, give your friend information about the location of your house. Tell your friend what tasks you would like them to do each day. Explain what he or she can do and see in your area. Write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses. Begin your letter as follows: Dear blank. Now, of course, the first thing that we have to do before we write our letter is plan. We always plan before we write. We plan before task 1 and we plan before task 2. Look at the question now. We have read the prompt already, and now we're going to focus on one particular part of the question. We're going to focus on the 3 bullet points. All IELTS Task 1 general training questions always have 3 bullet points, and your IELTS examiner, who will mark your writing, expects you to write long, detailed body paragraphs about each of these 3 bullet points. So the question is telling you 3 topics that you need to write about. Your job is to write the details. You already know what the topics are from the question, but you need to think of the details. So there are 3 bullet points. Give your friend information about the location of your house, so where you live. Tell your friend what tasks you want them to do, so what they can do in your house to look after the house, and what they can do and see in your area. You need to make some notes about these 3 topics. I'll give you 1 minute now to plan. We're going to spend 1 minute making notes about these 3 topics, and then we will use these notes later when we write our body paragraphs. You don't need to write any full sentences now, just a few words for each of the 3 bullet points, please. Write your notes, write your plan in the chat box, please. That was your 1 minute for you to plan. I saw that many of you wrote in your plan. Thank you very much. But a lot of you didn't. Now, it's essential that you learn to plan quickly. You only have about 20 minutes in total. You don't have time to waste. So you can't spend 4 or 5 minutes planning your answer. Planning is a skill that you need to practice. So if you find it difficult to plan within 1 minute, I definitely recommend that you plan this skill. You practice this skill. Okay, after we have looked at our question and made our plan about the 3 bullet points, we also need to think about how formal our letter should be. There are 3 different choices: formal, semi-formal, or informal. Now, the question doesn't tell you explicitly. The question does not say, write a formal letter or write a semi-formal letter. If we look at the question on the left-hand side of the screen, it says, write a letter. You need to decide which type of letter it is: formal, semi-formal, informal. The best way to decide what type of letter it is to focus on the question and in particular look at who are you writing to. Think about your relationship with that person. In today's letter, it says, write a letter to your friend. Okay, so you're writing to your friend. Do you think this will be formal, semi-formal, or informal? Writing to a friend, formal, semi-formal, or informal? I'll give you 5 seconds. Write your answers in the chat box. Lots of people writing in. I think everybody's got it. Yes, it's definitely informal. We're writing to a friend, so of course we're going to use the informal style. Let's remind ourselves about the structure that we use for writing letters. On the screen, in the red box, you can see the structure that we use. Now, we can use this structure for formal, semi-formal, or informal letters. Of course, the grammar and vocabulary will change depending on the type of letter that we're writing. And if you want more information about how to write other types of letters, for example, semi-formal or formal letters, don't forget that all of our live classes are recorded and uploaded to our website. If you go to e2language.com and click on recorded classes, you'll be able to see how to practice writing semi-formal and formal. But for today, we're looking at an informal letter. Look at the different stages. We start with a greeting, then we have our intro purpose, followed by 3 body paragraphs, the ending, sign off, and name. Now, there are other ways that are possible to write a letter. This is not the only way. However, I do recommend this E2 language method. Easy to learn, easy to practice, easy to use in your real test. So it's a simple and effective structure that you can use both when you're practicing and in the real test. Notice that there are 3 body paragraphs and there are 3 bullet points. So in body paragraph 1, we will write about bullet point 1. In body paragraph 2, we'll write about bullet point 2. And in body paragraph 3, we'll write about bullet point 3. You need to write detailed and extended paragraphs. 1 or 2 short sentences is not enough. Your examiner expects you to include a lot of details, a lot of information. That's why we plan before we start writing. We plan and get some ideas, and then we use those ideas when we are writing our 3 body paragraphs. Now, before we write, let's have a quick reminder of something. I recommend that you take a photo or a screenshot of this page right now. Take a photo or a screenshot of this page. Don't forget that your IELTS examiner will mark your writing in 4 different ways. And one of those ways is grammar. In terms of grammar, one of the features that your examiner is looking for is complex sentences. If you want to get a grammar score of 7 or higher, 7 or 8 or 9, You need to be able to include a variety of different complex sentences. To create a complex sentence, we need to use linking words, and you can see examples of these linking words on the screen. In the top box, we have conjunctions, words like although, as, because, if, while, whereas. And at the bottom, we have relative pronouns, who, which, and that. You don't need to learn 100 or 200 different linking words. These ones are enough, but you need to be able to use them accurately and use a variety of them in both your writing for task 1 and task 2 and your speaking as well. Let's do a little bit of practice now on creating complex sentences because we know that they are essential. If you want to get a 7 or higher in your grammar, you must be able to use them. So look on the screen and you can see question number 1. It says, Johnny gets sick. Call the vet on the number. The number is on the fridge. So there's 3 pieces of information there. And we have 2 linking words, if and which. Your job is to rewrite number 1 and turn it into one sentence. You need to include these 2 linking words, if and which, in order to create one sentence. I'll give you 20 seconds. Write your one sentence in the chat box, please. Let's look at the correct version. Here's one possible answer. You can see that I've put the linking words in red. If Johnny gets sick, call the vet on the number which is on the fridge. Let's do another one now. Again, you can see there are 3 pieces of information. It's the middle of summer. It can be freezing. Bring plenty of warm clothes. And our 2 linking words to connect our 3 pieces of information are so and even though. Your job, rewrite it as one sentence in your chat box. Again, you've got 20 seconds. Let's go through our answer. Here's one possible answer. Again, you can see that the linking words are in red. Even though it's the middle of summer, it can be freezing, so bring plenty of warm clothes. One more. Again, we have 3 sections, 3 pieces of information. Check out the new cafe. A new cafe has just opened on High Street. You've visited your favorite spots. And our 2 linking words, once and that. Your job, write your one full sentence in the chat box. You've got 20 seconds. Let's go through our answer together. You can see it on the screen and I'll read it to you now. Once you've visited your favorite spots, check out the new cafe that's just opened on High Street. So 5 seconds now to take a photo or a screenshot if you didn't do it a few moments ago. These are those linking words, those essential linking words to create complex sentences, which are necessary if you want to get a grammar 7 or higher. Time to do some writing. Now we know this is going to be an informal letter because we're writing to a friend, so we can start off with dear plus a first name. Now you can choose which first name you want to write to. You can see here I've used Dear Charlotte, but any first name is possible. Now we're moving into our intro purpose. This time in this letter, we're writing to a friend. So it's an informal letter. Now when you're writing to a friend, you can't start off by getting straight to the reason that you're writing. This person is your friend. So you need to begin with a friendly greeting. A lot of students, when they learn Task 1 general training structure, they focus only on formal letters. So a lot of students will learn, I am writing to ask. I am writing to request. And these sorts of formal structures are appropriate for some letter types. I am writing to. But if you're writing to a friend, of course, you can't use a formal structure. So we recommend that you use the friendly greeting, a short friendly greeting, and then why are you writing? I'm going to give you 2 minutes now. I want you to write your friendly greeting and your reason for writing in the chat box. You've got 2 minutes. Go for it. That was your 2 minutes to write your intro purpose. I was very pleased to see many of you writing a friendly greeting. Let's have a look at some of the friendly greetings that you used. Tasneem wrote, great to talk to you last evening. Balaji wrote, how are you, buddy? Wael writes, I hope you and your family are in good health. Saima, I hope you're doing well. Penaz, how are you? Mansi writes, how have you been? Adrian writes, I hope you're well. How are you from Jasleen? How have you been from Grace? Lots of simple, friendly greetings which are appropriate when you're writing to your friend. Let's have a look at my sample now. It says, great to talk to you yesterday and thanks so much for agreeing to look after the house. So this is my friendly greeting. Now I move into my reason for writing. I'm just writing to fill you in on everything. Notice the difference between how I write a formal purpose, I am writing to, and how I write my informal purpose, I'm just writing to. You can see there is a difference in tone. I am writing to is obviously formal. I'm just writing to is informal. Now, before we move on to the 3 body paragraphs, I want to remind you about our latest type of class. This is the IELTS group class. It's a small group class that focuses on either speaking or writing. These classes go for 55 minutes, and in each class there's 1 expert teacher and a maximum of 5 students. In the speaking class, we focus on speaking skills that are necessary for the IELTS exam. So we focus on part 1, part 2, and part 3 of the IELTS exam. You'll have an opportunity to answer all of these questions. And most importantly, you'll get live feedback from your IELTS expert about how you can improve your speaking and reach your IELTS goal. In the writing class, we're focusing on task 2 essay writing. And again, you do a lot of writing before and during the class, and you'll get valuable practical feedback from your E2 IELTS expert about how you can improve your essay writing and reach your IELTS writing goal. The classes are very affordable at $19 per class. There are limited spots available. You can book now at e2language.com. Okay, let's move into our 3 body paragraphs. Now remember, there are 3 body paragraphs and there are 3 bullet points. So in bullet point 1, in body paragraph 1, we're going to write about bullet point 1, and in body paragraph 2, we will write about bullet point 2, and in body paragraph 3, of course, we will write about bullet point 3. Your job is to think of the details. The question includes the 3 topics. You need to think of the details that you're going to include. Now, don't forget that we just looked at and we practiced creating complex sentences. These longer sentences that use linking words to combine different ideas together. If you want to get a high score in your grammar, you need to be able to use these complex sentences. So as you're writing your 3 body paragraphs, please try to include these complex sentences as well. I'm going to give you 12 minutes now to write your 3 body paragraphs. As you're writing your body paragraphs, I'm going to change the settings on the chat box. You won't be able to read what other students are writing. Instead, all of your writing will go to me. And I'm going to write some brief comments on as many as possible. If you're doing a good job, I'll let you know you're doing well. If you've made a particular type of error, I'll tell you what that error is. I'll only be able to give brief comments, and I'll try to do as many as possible within the 12 minutes, but I don't think I'll be able to do everyone. So you've got 12 minutes now to write your 3 body paragraphs. When you finish body paragraph 1, click send it in so that I have a chance to look at it. Don't wait until the end and then send all 3 paragraphs in. Instead, when you finish paragraph number 1, send it. When you finish paragraph number 2, send it, and number 3 as well. Good luck, everyone. You have 12 minutes now to write your 3 body paragraphs. That was your 12 minutes for you to write your 3 body paragraphs. Now, I commented on as many as I could. I hope I was able to comment on yours. If you would like detailed feedback about your writing, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, I recommend that you upload your writing to the E2 language website, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of today's class. For those of you who are watching on YouTube Live, unfortunately, I can't see your answers when you write on YouTube Live, so I recommend that you go to e2language.com at the end of today's class and register for a free account so that next time you can log in through E2 Language. Let's go through our sample now, and we're starting off with body 1. The topic of body 1 is give your friend information about the location of your house. It says, you'll love staying here. I live high up on a hill overlooking the ocean. Although it feels like you're in a remote spot, it's actually just a 10-minute walk into town. When you arrive on the train, give my sister a call on the number I sent you last week, and she'll pick you up and drop you at my place. Now we move into body 2. The topic of body 2 is the tasks you want your friend to do each day. There's not a lot I'd like you to do, but Johnny the Bulldog needs 2 walks a day and feeding morning and night. I have a garden, and this time of the year, it really has to be watered every day, but it's not large, so it shouldn't take too long. That's about it, as Marjorie will come in to clean a couple of times, so no housework. And body 3, the topic is explain what your friend can do and see in your area. While you're here, there'll be a festival in town, as well as the flower show and all sorts of entertainment like music, theatre and dancing. I know you're a keen hiker, so I'll leave a local map which shows loads of beautiful walks. You won't get bored. Now we move into our ending. Remember that this is an informal letter. We're writing to a friend, so we can use an informal letter, an informal ending like, thanks again and give me a buzz if there are any issues. Safe travels. With our sign off and name, we're writing to a friend, so you can use love or you could use your friend. And then when you write your name, you need to write only the first name. Now you can use your real name if you want. I could write Sasha, love Sasha, or your friend Sasha. Or you can invent a name. It's up to you. Either use your real first name or invent a first name. Here I invented the name Charmaine, but it's completely up to you. Okay, let's have a look now at our sample, and we're going to analyze it together to check that it includes all of the necessary features. I know that many of you like to take a copy of the sample, take a photo or a screenshot. So if you want to take a photo or a screenshot of the sample, now is the time to do it. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a simplified version of the band descriptors, and it shows the 4 different ways that your examiner will mark your letter. Let's go through these different ways together, and we will assess our sample to see if it scores highly. So we're starting off with task achievement. The first thing we need to have is a clear purpose to the letter. So with a clear purpose, we can see in our first sentence, the intro purpose, I'm just writing to fill you in on everything. So clearly we have addressed that purpose. Did we present and extend each bullet point? Yes, we did. You can see that each of the 3 bullet points has been dealt with in a body paragraph, and each body paragraph has quite a lot of information. Of course, you need to use an appropriate tone. Today's letter is to a friend, so that means we need to use informal tone. Have a look at some of my examples of informal tone. Great to talk to you. Give my sister a call. That's about it. You won't get bored. Give me a buzz. Lots of examples of informal tone. And of course, we can only include relevant information. In terms of coherence and cohesion, we need to make sure that our ideas are well connected. We can use the E2 language structure with the intro purpose and the 3 body paragraphs. And we need to use a range of linking devices. These linking devices include some of those linking words that we looked at before. Have a look at some of the linking words that I've highlighted in red. And, although, when, but, so, as, while, which. Lots of different linking words throughout my letter, not only at the beginning or in one place, but all the way through my letter. In terms of lexis or vocabulary, we need to use a wide range, and you can see there's some interesting vocabulary here. Overlooking, remote spot, pick you up, all sorts of, keen hiker, loads of. And of course, we need to have correct spelling as well. Now, thinking about grammar, we need to use a variety of different grammatical forms. You can see here on the screen, we've got a simple form. We have a simple form, a simple sentence. A simple sentence is a sentence with one main verb, one idea. But that's not enough. We need to use a variety of different types of sentence structures. Here you can see we have more than one type combined. We have a complex and a compound. We can see that we've got the linking word when and also the linking word and, which are used to create this sentence. We also have forms of the passive voice, as well as a relative clause. Again, we're using one of these linking words. This is a relative pronoun. You can see that someone else has logged in, so I'm just going to there we go. Okay. And in terms of our grammar, we need to use all of this wide range, some complex sentences, accurate, and of course, correct punctuation as well. Now, if you'd like to do some extra practice, go to e2language.com. You can see when you go to the IELTS general course that we have all of the different types of letters, formal, semi-formal, and informal. You can also book a tutorial by clicking on tutorial, as well as submitting work for feedback. As I recommended earlier today, if you'd like some individualized feedback, some one-on-one help, you can submit your work by clicking on feedback. It'll be uploaded to the E2 language website, where you'll receive an overall score, the 4 specific scores, and detailed written feedback. And finally, don't forget about our latest type of group class. This is the small group class. It focuses on either speaking or writing. In these classes, which go for 55 minutes, there's one expert teacher and a maximum of 5 students. In the speaking class, we're focusing on all 3 parts of the IELTS speaking test. You'll have lots of opportunity to speak, and your IELTS expert from E2 language will give you lots of valuable feedback about how you can improve your speaking. In the writing class, we're focusing on task 2, essay writing. You'll bring writing to the class as well as write in the class. And once again, you'll get valuable, useful, practical feedback from your E2 IELTS expert about how you can improve your writing. If you'd like to book a class, go to E2 language. There are limited spots available. Now it's time for Q&A, questions and answers. If you have any IELTS questions, please write them in the chat box. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube Live, thank you very much for logging in. I recommend that you go to e2language.com and register for a free account so that next time you can log in through E2 language and I'll be able to see your writing and your contributions.